card is filled in. Which of these warriors will prove their strength to the world?
Welcome to Versus, an unbiased opinion on both NBA Live and NBA 2K16. After a massive success on the last year's Versus video, we're here to do it again. I see a lot of people trying to copy my format, my style, and my creativity, so let's put those other guys to rest. With that being said, I'll be showcasing NBA Live 15 and 16 gameplay to represent Live, and I'll be showcasing NBA 2K15 and 16 to represent NBA 2K. I'll be looking both at positives and negatives of each said game, and ultimately I'll leave it up to you, the viewer, to decide which game you prefer. So without further ado, let's get started with my breakdown and opinions on NBA Live 16. As someone who played both Live 14 and Live 15, NBA Live 16 is at least 10 times better than what the prior game was. So let's jump into the nitty-gritty of NBA Live 16, starting with the animations. We'll take a look at the positive and then the negative animations in NBA Live 16, but unfortunately there isn't that many positives. The one animation that really stood out to me was the dribbling appearance of the basketball. When a player dribbles the basketball, it looks real, it looks authentic. A lot better than compared to a 2K game. Hopefully they get it better, because if not, there's going to be a lot of uncalled travels like this one. Envyerz has Jesus hands and then he considers to travel? And now, unfortunately, on to the many negative animations in NBA Live 16. We'll start off with the passing. Ooh, that ugly pass animation though? Seems like you're just throwing a brick that goes straight to the other player you're throwing it to. There's really no bounce passing animations. The oops are terrible, along with the dunks and layups. I mean, they did improve the dunks and layups from past games, but comparing it to 2K, it just does not meet up to standard. Now, the biggest flawed animation in my opinion is the Euro step cheese in NBA Live 15. Euro stepping was a problem, and although it may not seem as a problem from what I've played in NBA Live 16, it's still there. You could easily drive to the basket by Euro stepping, and that's basically an automatic bucket depending on what overall your player is. The presentation. The presentation in NBA Live 16 is flawless, just like it always is. The players coming out the tunnel, the pre-game workouts, the players shooting around. That feels nice. But unfortunately, the one flaw with the presentation is the commentary. Although the commentary is improved a lot from prior years, it still feels too stiff. If only the commentary wasn't so scripted, and if they let Jeff Van Gundy be Jeff Van Gundy and say things like, I would carry a razor blade with me and cut myself just so I could get an extra timeout. The graphics. Both NBA Live and NBA 2K have really stepped up the graphics, and they're both trying to make the most realistic, authentic looking basketball game by bringing in the rookies, bringing in the players to have a full body scan or a face scan. A lot of the NBA Live faces look very real, and when you're playing the game, you don't actually notice how skinny the players' legs are or how slim the bodies are as well. That's really nitpicking at trailers and what people see, because that has no effect on the actual gameplay and how fun the game is. I really do like the style and direction NBA Live is going with the graphics, and hopefully in future games they could step it up even more than they are right now, because like it still needs a few improvements. The gameplay. The gameplay is one of the worst features about NBA Live 16, but it's also one of the most important features in any game, which makes it completely unbearable at times to play this game. Although it's 10 times better than NBA Live 15 was, the gameplay still feels stiff. We talked about animations earlier, and I just feel like the gameplay just doesn't have enough animations compared to 2K. The guarding mechanic is very, very weak compared to 2K as well, because you can't hold down the left trigger to manually guard someone. You're just supposed to stand there and it'll automatically guard for you, which is really inconsistent at times in NBA Live. To be totally honest, there's a whole lot more negatives about the NBA Live gameplay than there actually are positives, unfortunately, but I did manage to find one positive side about the actual game mechanics and the gameplay in Live, and that is the play calling. For some reason, it seems so seamless and easy to pick up a playbook and use play calls by holding down the left bumper on an Xbox One controller. They didn't have the improved play calling in NBA Live 15, so I really do credit them for that, but they need to focus more on the actual gameplay and making more animations in the game rather than having one good feature about the gameplay and play calling, which 50% of the people that play it will probably never use. I don't want to shoot and the ball goes sideways like this clip. The game modes. The game modes consist of Rising Star, Pro-Am, Ultimate Team, Dynasty, and the most unique game mode in NBA Live, which is the Big Moments game mode. You can relive any big moment, any buzzer beater, any 57-point game that a player decides to drop. It's really a great game mode to have when the NBA season is currently going on. We will go into a little bit of Rising Star and Pro-Am, starting off with Rising Star. If Rising Star is anything like it was in NBA Live, it has no story and you could just basically simulate the entire season, gaining skill points, upping your rep, upping your overall. So I really do hope that Rising Star takes the book out of 2K's My Career and not give you VC or skill points for skipping the games. You have to play the games to get skill points, etc., etc., because if not, you're going to see a lot of 99 overalls by someone who just simulated 8 years in Rising Star. NBA Live gives you a more realistic approach for your My Player, your Rising Star, so you can take the streets of Pro-Am. And speaking of Pro-Am, I really do like that they're taking the roots of Pro-Am and actually making it a Pro-Am, unlike NBA 2K, where you're basically playing in a Jordan Rec Center and you're playing crew mode basically with your built arena and what have you. Last but not least, the servers. In an age where you basically have to be connected to the internet all times, servers are a big key factor into playing games. My experience of playing Pro-Am, there was a lot of latency, there was a lot of frame drops that kept continuing to happen. Although yes, the servers were up, it still felt slow and unbearable to play at times just because of the fact that the frames continued to drop. I'm playing a pro circuit in Pro-Am where basically you go up against like actual players.
Like the AI though?
Yeah.
So you're not even playing online.
No, and there's frame rate issues right now.
Wow.
Here's hoping EA could get their servers together and not go down the road of 2K where they're down every other day. "2K continues to outdo themselves, adding old features from previous titles and calling them new again. There's still a lot of things to be excited for NBA 2K16, but there's also a few things to look out for and be worried about. The animations. I'm pretty sure we're all aware of the terrible animations NBA 2K15 had with the zigzag cheese, the post fadeaway threes, to the animations that you get sucked into, along with your player occasionally sliding behind the three-point line. Although all these animations and tactics were frustrating to play against and with, the game was still playable and fun to play minus these exploits. It doesn't make it any better that your favorite 2K YouTuber decides to upload videos on exploits of the game, exposing millions of people to do the exact same thing they're doing. And although they're trying to get it fixed, majority of times it is not fixed. Now the one positive animation from 2K16 is the feet placement. They really, emphasize the feet placement in this game, and although there will be sliding still on the court and the court will be slippery at times, it's a lot better than what it was in 2K15. The presentation. 2K decides to one-up themselves from last year with Shaq and Ernie by adding Kenny the Jet Smith, also replacing Steve Kerr with Greg Anthony, who somehow managed to still have a job after the alleged prostitution. 2K is on the right track with the presentation, and although in my opinion it doesn't look as good as NBA Live's presentation, it's still a lot more enjoyable to listen to. What would really make the presentation perfect if they added Charles Barkley and added the TNT logo to really get the presentation up there, but I know due to the contracts and what have you, that's going to be hard to do. The graphics. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, both NBA 2K and NBA Live have different stylized graphics. Live seems to be going for the realistic approach, and don't get me wrong, NBA 2K is doing the exact same thing, but for some reason, whenever I look at the gameplay for NBA 2K16, the players and graphics look a little bit cartoony-esque in 2K16. I get the realistic feel from the graphics, but I don't get the serious approach by the player models and just the environment of 2K. Everything's nice and vibrant and colorful, but then that's probably just me nitpicking, but I'm eager to know if you guys think the same. The gameplay. We all know it, we all love it, minus the, the cheesy animations and what have you, but this is a solid basketball game. Besides the various annoying animations and exploits people find about this game, it's really solid at the core and it doesn't need much changing. My one big pet peeve about the gameplay is the simulation and arcade type feel that this game has. This game is not a simulation basketball game. Unfortunately, it's the closest thing we have to it, but by no means is it a simulation basketball game. But I mean, compared to NBA Live, it's a lot more simulation stylized. Other than that, the game's playable. It's fun. It's fun to trash talk to your friends and say who's the better player. That's why the gameplay in NBA 2K is as solid as a basketball game gets. The game modes. NBA 2K16 has stepped every game mode up from the previous title with My GM, an online My League, along with My League, My Team, and the various features they have in that said game mode, along with My Park, where you pick your affiliations, and Pro-Am, which looks amazing for people that love to customize courts. And the biggest feature of all is obviously My Career. NBA 2K16 is writing the My Career story out, and although I think personally the 2K14 and 2K15 storylines were corny, this one looks promising. I'm definitely going to be playing My Career. Now, the one thing about these game modes is that, like I said in the beginning of my 2K session, I don't like the whole marketing scheme behind making old game modes new game modes. But I'll let 2K live just for the simple fact that these game modes are going to be enjoyable. The servers. Now, this is the one thing that I won't let 2K live on. Each and every single year at launch day, the game is unplayable just due to the fact of servers. If it's anything like 2K15's launch day, we're going to have some trouble when we download NBA 2K16 and the masses start playing it. Here's hoping for a good 2K16 launch. I just wish 2K would get it together so when we're playing the game, we don't randomly lag out saying disconnected from 2K servers like we always do in 2K15 and prior years before that as well. Glad you guys stuck through the entirety of this video. I know this video may be a little bit longer than my usual ones, but that's just because I had a lot of information to tell you guys on NBA Live 16 and NBA 2K16. So with that said, please voice your opinions in the comments below on which game you prefer. What it all boils down to at the end is which game do you have the most fun with? With both basketball games nearing release or released, hope you guys have fun with your preferred game of choice. Be sure to leave a like on this video along with sharing it with any basketball lover, live, or 2K lover as well. Just spread the word. Hope you guys see the hours of effort and dedication put into this video, and I hope it pays off with the end result. I'd like to thank you guys for watching. Bye-bye.